Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. Cairo local time. This is Shuru Bakir, and I'll accompany you through the latest development in the region and internationally, starting off with the headlines, followed with the details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi receives Managing Director of International Finance Corporation, IFC, Mokhtar Diop, in Cairo. Iran warns Israel of more severe retaliation if it processes hostile actions. And in Gaza, Israeli airstrikes kill at least 12 Palestinians today. Welcome back. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi received a phone call from his Cypriot counterpart Nikos Christodoulidis on regional development. President el-Sisi stressed Egypt's complete rejection of expanding conflicts in the region. He stressed the importance of halting Israel's military operation across various regional fronts, warning of the severe precautions of the continued aggression. President el-Sisi called the international community to play a more effective role to push the regional parties to bear their responsibilities, underscoring the peaceful solutions are the only means to ensure stability and security in the region. El-Sisi confirmed the necessity to resume the U.S.-Iranian negotiations by Oman mediation, which represent the best solution for the current tension. El-Sisi also affirmed Egypt's steadfast stance on establishing a Middle East zone free from weapons of mass destruction. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi received on Sunday Managing Director of International Finance Corporation, IFS, Mokhtar Diop, in Cairo. During the meeting, el-Sisi expressed keenness on continued cooperation with the IFC, especially in the light of current regional developments. He said recent developments pose has challenges on development progress. He also praised the role of the IFC through past years, stressing the financing should be offered at competitive prices to lower the costs. He said Egypt is adopting a number of measures and skeletal economic reforms that support financial and economic stability. He added that the state is keen on expanding the role of the private sector in the development and economic fields. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi reiterated the launch of the initiative Egypt with You, which targets underage children of martyrs and victims of the armed forces, police and civilians. President el-Sisi stressed the significance of continuing enhancing service offered by the Fund for Honoring Martyrs and to expand its resources, upgrading its management mechanisms to better meet the needs of its beneficiaries. The head of state remarked were made during a meeting with Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Fund of Honoring Martyrs and Victims of the War, Terrorism and Security Operations, and the Fund's Executive Director. During the meeting, President el-Sisi was briefed on the Fund's activities and services provided to families of martyrs and injured or missing due to war and terrorism and security operations. In coordination with the states concerned institutions, President el-Sisi also instructed the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research to take needed procedures to determine appropriate exemption and discounts for the fund beneficiaries across public, private, national universities and private higher institutions, along with the mechanism for implementation. Madbouli attended a conference on financing developing in Cairo on Sunday. Addressing the event, he hailed the role of the private sector in the national economy, saying that the private sector accounts for 70% of the total GDP. He said that the private sector is in close cooperation with the country's development partners, and during the event, he also witnessed the signing of deals between the private sector and development partners.
بدور حيوي.
Israel and Iran launched fresh attacks on each other overnight into Sunday. Iranian missiles fired on Israel killed at least 10 people overnight, pushing the toll up to 13 dead. Also, 380 were injured since Iran began its retaliatory strikes on Friday. Israel's authorities said that the rescue teams combed through the rubble of residential buildings destroyed. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Sunday that the Tehran is open to nuclear deal that would ensure it cannot acquire atomic weapon, but will not agree to abandon its rights. He added that Israeli attacks on his country this week sought to derail nuclear talks with the United States. Araghchi told foreign diplomats that it is entirely clear that the Israeli regime does not want any agreement on the nuclear issue. It doesn't want negotiations and doesn't seek diplomacy. Araghchi stated that Iran does not want its conflict with Israel to expand to neighboring countries unless the situation is forced, adding that its response has been based on self-defense. Araghchi said Tehran had been responding to foreign aggression and that if this aggression stopped, Iranian reactions would also cease. The foreign minister said that the Israeli strikes on the offshore South Pars gas fields Iran shares with Qatar were a blatant aggression and a very dangerous act. Iran's responses to Israeli attacks will be more decisive and severe if Israel's hostile actions continue. President Masoud Pezeshkian said that Iran's military has so far responded strongly and appropriately. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday that Washington had nothing to do with Israel's intense bombardment campaign that was launched early Friday, targeting key military and nuclear sites in Iran. But Trump threatened to launch the full strength and might if Iran attacks U.S. interests. Trump said on his Truth social platform that we can easily get a deal done between Iran and Israel and in this bloody conflict. Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulides said on Sunday that Iran has asked Cyprus to convey some messages to Israel. German foreign minister said that Germany, France and Britain are ready to hold immediate talks with Iran over Tehran's nuclear program in an effort to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East. The German foreign minister, who is on a visit to the Middle East, said he was trying to contribute towards a de-escalation of the conflict between Israel and Iran, noting that Tehran had previously failed to take the opportunity of constructive talks. The German minister, who is in Oman, on Sunday said the conflict would be ended when influence is exerted on Iran and Israel from its turning to Gaza. He added humanitarian situation in the Palestinian enclave was unacceptable and urged Israel to allow unrestricted access to aid organizations. Houthis said today that they targeted Israel in coordination with Iran, the first time an Iran-aligned group has publicly announced joint cooperation on attacks with Tehran. Military spokesman Yahya Sariya said in a television address that the Yemeni group targeted central Israel's Jaffa with several ballistic missiles in the last 24 hours. He added that the triumphing for the oppressed Palestinian and Iranian peoples, this operation was coordinated with the operations carried out by the Iranian army against the criminal Israeli enemy. Earlier, the Israeli military said sirens were activated in the several areas in the country following missiles launching from Iran and Yemen. Israel and Iran continued exchanging missiles attacks since Israel launched its biggest ever military strike against its long-standing enemy on Friday. Israel airstrikes killed at least 12 Palestinians on Sunday across the enclave, at least 5 of them near 2 aid sites operated by the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Details.
Israeli fire and air...
Welcome back. I'm moving to the Business Minister of Supply and Domestic Trade, Dr. Sharif Farouk, stressed the importance of taking all necessary measures to ensure the state's strategic stockpile of basic commodities, namely in light of regional and international challenges and economic changes. The minister's remarks were made as he met with top officials of the holding company for food industries to follow up the state's of the strategic stockpile of essential commodities, calling for full coordination between the HCFI and its subsidiaries, and also to enhance partnership with producers and suppliers to ensure the regularity of supply chain channels. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this edition. Thank you for watching. Best regards from me, Shuru Bakir.